They never feared your power until it stopped serving them. Now it terrifies them because it finally serves you. My dear chosen ones, let's start right there with a truth sharp enough to slice through every mask they ever wore. You didn't just survive what was meant to break you. You walked out of it wearing their intentions like armor. And the funny part is, the very people who tried to bury you are now choking on the dust you rose from. This isn't just an intro. This is your reminder that their fear is the loudest applause you will ever get. You ever notice how bold they were when they thought you were blind? How loud they got when they believed you'd never catch on? But the moment you stepped back into the room, with clarity in your eyes and silence in your stride, everything shifted. Conversations died mid-sentence. Smirks dissolved. People who once mocked your instincts suddenly couldn't make eye contact. That's the power of being chosen, my dear chosen ones, when your presence alone becomes a plot twist they didn't rehearse for. You might wonder, why does my awareness shake them so badly? Why does my calm feel like a threat to people who once laughed at me? Let me answer that for you before the question even finishes forming. Because you became the walking truth in a world built on their comfortable lies. Chosen one, you don't hit people with fists. You hit them with accuracy, with consistency, with the kind of quiet confidence that exposes everything they hope to keep hidden. You don't shout. Your silence does it for you. You don't retaliate. Your growth takes care of the revenge. And while they spent years sharpening lies, you spent years sharpening perception. Now they stand there trembling because you can read intentions the way others read text messages. The idiom that fits your story. The wolf has finally shown its eyes, not because you became dangerous, but because you stopped pretending you didn't see the hunt happening around you. Before we move forward, my dear chosen ones, take a moment to strengthen this mission. If this message is already hitting a nerve, already waking something powerful inside you, then support this journey by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Your engagement isn't just a number, it's the fuel that lets us keep creating content that empowers you, sharpens you, and reminds you exactly who you are. Every like, every subscribe, every comment helps us grow this community of awakened minds and keeps this life-changing, energizing message alive. Stand with us. Chosen one, let's rise together. And my dear chosen ones, let's make something crystal clear. They never expected you to evolve. They counted on your softness remaining softness. They counted on your empathy being a leash. They counted on your silence being submission. But you turned everything they misunderstood into ammunition. You became the quiet storm, steady, patient, deadly with truth. Remember the nights you questioned your own sanity because someone twisted the story so cleanly you doubted your own memory? Remember how they told you that you were too sensitive, too suspicious, too dramatic? Look at them now. Those same people whisper your name like it's a warning label. They flinch at your intuition because it has a habit of being right before the world catches up. They don't fear what you say, they fear what you see. And here's the part that hits them hardest, chosen one. You never fought them. You never exposed them. You never stooped to their level. You let time testify for you, and time snitched without hesitation. You terrify them because you don't react anymore. When someone tries their old manipulative tricks, you just look at them with that unreadable expression that says, "I already know." That gaze alone shatters their confidence. They wanted you emotional, unbalanced, loud, because that made you easier to control. But the version of you standing here now, calm, observant, untouchable, that version is their nightmare dressed as your evolution. Chosen ones, the world didn't suddenly become darker. Your eyes simply adjusted to the dimness. You didn't suddenly gain intuition. You stopped ignoring the intuition you always had. You didn't magically become wiser. You simply stopped giving people the benefit of doubt they never earned. And now they scramble with one haunting question echoing through their minds. How did they know? But you and I both know the real answer. You always knew. You just stopped pretending not to. So press like, Chosen One. Subscribe, Chosen One. Not for me, for the message. Because every click, every engagement, every ounce of attention you give this awakening is another reminder that you are stepping into the identity they tried to bury. You are walking into the version of yourself that refuses to shrink for anyone. If you're truly built for this, if you feel that familiar pull in your chest right now, drop a 777 in the comments. Not as a tradition, but as a declaration. I see what they tried to hide. I hear what they hoped I'd overlook. I am the chosen one they never should have underestimated. Now, settle in, breathe, stay with me till the end without even trying. The storm they feared is already here, and it's you. Chosen One, before we take the next step, let me speak directly to the power sitting inside you right now. If this message is already hitting where it needs to hit, if you feel that familiar pull in your chest, the kind only real chosen ones recognize, then lock in with us. Hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a 77 in the comments so this energy keeps flowing back to you. Your support isn't background noise, it's the current that keeps this entire mission alive. And trust me, as we dive into what comes next, you'll realize these aren't just signs. They're the very reasons they're whispering, "How did you know?" Ordinary people don't awaken like this. Only chosen ones do. Now, let's step deeper into the truth they hoped you'd never see. Number 1. Forged in fire, the strength they built while trying to break you. When the knife they pointed at you became the blade that sharpened you. They tried to break you, chosen one, and all they did was train you. My dear chosen ones, let that sink in before we go any deeper. They wanted to weaken you, embarrass you, confuse you, but every blow they threw only carved you into something they can no longer predict, control, or comprehend. And isn't it poetic? The same hands that tried to shatter you ended up sculpting the version of you that now terrifies them. That's why they whisper. That's why they stare. That's why they sit with their shoulders tense and their voices trembling whenever you walk into a room. You might wonder, why are they so scared? Why does my presence hit harder now than it ever did before? Let me answer you plainly, chosen one. Because they finally realized they didn't break you. They built you. Your power didn't come from a moment of peace. It wasn't born in comfort or ease or soft lessons whispered kindly. No, your power grew in the trenches where lies were thick, masks were heavy, and intentions were sharp enough to cut. It started in those quiet betrayals, those nights you stared at the ceiling unable to understand how someone could claim loyalty with their mouth and burn you with their actions. Those weren't random experiences. Those were training grounds. Every fake smile was a lesson. Every switch in tone was a clue. Every inconsistency was a breadcrumb you learned to follow. And every lie they fed you became another rep in the emotional gym they didn't know you were lifting in. Chosen one, they educated you without your consent, and now they're terrified of the graduate standing before them. They can't believe you sense tension before it even forms. They can't believe you detect motives without needing proof. They can't believe you can predict their next move while they still think they're unpredictable. But here's the reality. They wrote the manual on manipulation, and they forgot you were studying it the entire time. You were soft once. You trusted easily. You believed honesty was the default. And because of that innocence, the world threw its first betrayal at you, like a crash you never saw coming. That impact? That was the spark. It cracked your old self open and showed you the truth beneath the surface of people. It was the moment you unknowingly stepped into your training arc. You felt manipulation before you could define it. You felt energy shifts before you understood them. You sensed lies before you had the language to label them. They called you dramatic. They said you overthought. They said you imagined things. But look at how quickly their tune changed once your instincts kept proving you right. My dear chosen ones, life wasn't punishing you. It was preparing you. Those fake friends? They were the early chapters. Watching their smiles never reach their eyes taught you how to read expressions instead of excuses. Those shady lovers, they were your final exams. The phone flipping, the late night distance, the subtle tone changes. You learned to read affection the way others read books. And the family members who twisted your memory until you doubted your own mind, those were the master-level lessons. They taught you the difference between performance and truth. They taught you to separate words from intentions. They taught you that some people love control more than clarity. Chosen one, you weren't paranoid, you were being prepared. All those patterns repeating themselves weren't coincidences, they were scripts. And the moment you recognized that script, the moment you said, "I'm not imagining this pattern is real," that's when the chosen one in you was born. Not in power, not in confidence, but in clarity. The day you stopped rewriting their behavior into something prettier, that was the day you awakened. And now your sight is sharp enough to slice through stories. You can hear lies in the spaces between words. You can feel betrayal before it arrives. You can detect the truth in silence, because silence now speaks louder than confessions. People used to call you too much, until their behavior fit your predictions better than their excuses. Suddenly, you weren't dramatic, you were accurate. And accuracy scares people who live in performance. They ask, "How did you know?" But chosen one, they already know the answer. They taught you, they armed you, they sharpened you, and now they're terrified of the weapon they crafted with their own actions. You didn't become powerful overnight. You evolved because survival demanded it. And now, the same people who once underestimated you are losing sleep, wondering how you see right through them. No wonder they whisper, "How did you know?" Because deep down, they know exactly why. You always knew, and that is what scares them most. Number 2, the hidden manual. The tactics they all swore you'd never decode. The same old tricks, different faces. When you finally learned to read the script, they thought you'd never notice. They weren't unpredictable, chosen one. You just stopped playing your role in their performance. My dear chosen ones, let's tear the curtain down on this one. They swear they're unique, they swear they're clever, they swear they're original. But the truth hits harder than any excuse they've ever rehearsed. They've all been running the exact same cheap playbook, the same recycled lines, the same emotional tactics, the same desperate manipulations that have been passed around so many generations, it should honestly come with a warranty. And you, yes, you, chosen one, became the first person who didn't just watch the show. You caught the script. You realized something nobody ever warned you about. Manipulative people aren't creative. They aren't strategic masterminds. They're predictable, repetitive, painfully basic. They all follow the same flowchart: deny, deflect, guilt trip, cry, love bomb, disappear, repeat. Different actors, same tired script. You didn't become jaded. You just stopped letting the performance distract you. Imagine living your whole life inside a theater where everyone swore the scenes were real. You clapped, you cared, you believed every apology as if it came from the heart. Then one day, one moment, you notice a wire hanging from the ceiling. You hear an actor rehearsing backstage. You see the makeup dripping off their crying face. And just like that, it's over. You can't unsee the truth. Your awakening wasn't dramatic. It was subtle. Your eyes adjusted to the lighting, chosen one, and suddenly everything they hid became visible. That's the moment the magician loses all his power. the second the audience understands the trick. You didn't change. They did. They got sloppy. They tried the same emotional moves over and over, never expecting you to notice the pattern behind the performance. They thought they invented manipulation. Meanwhile, you were quietly becoming fluent in a language they spoke without even knowing it had grammar. You read tone shifts like warnings. You read fake kindness like cheap perfume. You read silence like subtitles revealing what the script left out. And here's the part that shakes them the most. You don't even confront them now. Your silence is a verdict. Your calm is a mirror. Your intuition is the alarm they can't disable. When they try to gaslight you, expecting panic, confusion, over-explanation, you just look at them with that expression that says, "I already solved this puzzle before you even picked up the first piece." Chosen one, that reaction destroys them. Manipulators need chaos to survive. They need your confusion as currency. They need your doubt like oxygen. They need you explaining yourself so they can twist your words. They need the emotional fog to pull their little strings. But you became calm, observant, steady. Their tricks don't land anymore. Their emotional theatrics feel cheap. Their guilt trips fall flat. Their anger doesn't even register. They swing, and you don't move. They perform, and you don't clap. They lie, and your intuition sees through it before their voice even cracks. You built immunity to their venom, and nothing terrifies a manipulator more than realizing their poison no longer works. People say you're cold now. No, you're aware. They say you're difficult. No, you're done being played. They say you've changed. No, you stopped participating in the performance. And here's a question that might be buzzing in your mind. Are humans really that predictable? Why do they all act the same? Let me answer you directly. Chosen one. Yes, manipulators are predictable because they don't evolve. They're lazy. They recycle the same tactics because those tactics worked on people who didn't yet understand the game. But you woke up. You studied the pattern. You connected the dots they hoped you'd ignore. Once you learned the language, everything and everyone became clear. You're not a psychic. You're observant. You're upgraded. You're aware. And that awareness makes you untouchable. That's why they whisper. That's why they panic. That's why they look at you like you've unlocked something forbidden. Because when they ask, "How did you know?" what they really mean is, "How did you figure out the playbook we've been hiding behind our whole lives?" Chosen one, you saw the script. You learned the language. And now that you speak it fluently, you're scaring them more than they will ever admit. Number 3, silence as a weapon. The moment your calm became their collapse. When your silence became the knock on their door they never wanted to hear. Chosen one, nothing unsettles a liar more than the sound of a truth reader going quiet. My dear chosen ones, let's talk about the moment everything shifted. Not because you raised your voice, but because you stopped using it. The day your silence dropped into the room, everything inside them cracked like thin ice under too much weight. They're not scared of you, no. They're scared of the fact that you see them without the costume, without the script, without the polished performance they used to hide behind. They're scared because you stopped reacting, and reaction was the only leverage they ever had. You used to flinch when they twisted stories. You used to defend yourself when they blamed you for what they did. You used to explain, apologize, overthink, overfeel, all the things manipulators feed on. But now you sit there with that calm, steady, almost bored expression that says, "I've already solved this puzzle." And that look, chosen one, hits harder than any confrontation. Because when you stop responding, they realize you finally see them for who they are. Not the mask they present, not the character they rehearsed, but the raw truth trembling underneath. Imagine a magician performing the same trick for the 100th time, expecting the same applause. only to find out the audience already knows where the wires are, where the trapdoor sits, and how the illusion works. That's you. Their magic stopped working on you because you're not watching in awe anymore. You're analyzing, observing, noting every move like a scientist studying a predictable lab rat running the same tired maze. And that's what terrifies them the most. You're no longer emotionally accessible. Their guilt trips hit the floor like cheap plastic. Their shaky apologies slide right past you. Their dramatic pauses feel outdated. Their fake tears dissolve before they land. Every tactic that once controlled you now looks like a rerun you're too evolved to pay attention to. You're not inside their drama anymore. You're witnessing it from above, like someone reading a script you already know the ending to. When you stopped reacting, they felt it instantly. Their power evaporated like smoke in cold air. Your silence hits harder than yelling ever could. Silence means clarity. Silence means certainty. Silence means you don't need their apology, their explanation, or their approval. Silence means you already know. And chosen ones, manipulators, crumble when their audience stops participating in the show. Because here's the part that keeps them up at night. If you saw through them, what if someone else sees it too? What if their mask slips in front of the wrong person? What if you share what you noticed? What if the truth spreads? Your silence became a threat because silence is unpredictable. And unpredictable is deadly to someone who depends on control. You became the walking proof of their fraud. Your intuition became the mirror they never wanted to look into. Your calm became the alarm they hoped would never go off. They know exactly why they're scared of you now, because if you figured out their patterns this easily, then their whole identity is fragile. Their mask isn't secure. Their narrative isn't airtight. Their manipulative genius isn't genius at all. It's predictable, repetitive, and clumsy once the chosen one opens their eyes. And while they're spiraling in fear, look at you, steady, composed, unbothered. You're not rushing to expose them. You're not trying to get even. You're not fighting. You're just letting the truth do what it always does. Rise, expose, reveal. Strip the performance down to its empty bones. You don't have to attack them. You don't have to correct them. You don't have to prove anything. Your silence is the final knock on the door they never wanted to hear, because when a chosen one stops reacting, it means the game is over, and deep down, they know it. You didn't become their nightmare by speaking louder. You became their nightmare by finally going quiet. Number 4. The unspoken radar, reading intentions loudly without a single word said. The one who hears what others pretend not to feel. They're not scared that you heard what they said, chosen one. They're scared that you felt what they meant. My dear chosen ones, this is where your story gets unsettling for them. This is the part that keeps them up at night, replaying conversations, wondering what you picked up on, questioning how much of their performance slipped through the cracks while they thought they were flawless. Because you, chosen one, you don't wait for truth to be spoken. You sense it before a single word touches the air. You feel it vibrating beneath the surface like a frequency only you're calibrated to detect. When you walk into a room, the energy rearranges itself. You feel shifts others never notice. You pick up on the tension hiding in the corners, the anxiety wrapped in someone's smile, the intention tucked behind a casual greeting. It only takes you 30 seconds to know who's genuine, who's pretending, who's uneasy, who's watching you too closely, who's calculating, who's jealous, who's masking insecurity with confidence, and who hopes to every degree that you won't notice the crack in their facade. But you always do. That's what scares them. Imagine everyone else watching life like a grainy, low-quality movie, while you're the only one seeing the director's cut. The scenes that were supposed to be edited out, the mistakes behind the curtain, the real motives between the lines. You shake someone's hand and your instinct immediately nudges you. They're hiding something. They speak with a friendly tone, but your intuition translates it like subtitles revealing the script underneath. And when you react calmly, when you don't fall for the charm or the theatrics, they panic. Because they can fool the world, but not you. People call it paranoia, but only because admitting you're right would require them to drop their mask. They know you sense things they haven't confessed. They know you feel shifts they hoped were invisible. They know you pick up on contradictions they can't smooth over. Your intuition isn't magic. It's memory. It's experience. It's the archive of every time someone lied with a straight face and expected you to swallow it. It's the pattern recognition you earned through pain, not delusion. All the disappointments, all the betrayals, all the people who said one thing while doing another. They didn't numb you. They refined you. They shaped you into someone who listens to tone more than words. Someone who reads intention more than appearance. Someone who watches actions instead of believing promises. You pay attention to the details most people overlook. The eye contact that drops too quickly. The smile that doesn't reach the eyes. The voice that trembles on the lie. The sudden energy dip when guilt slips out. The emotional glitch when someone's motives turn dark. Chosen one, you no longer rely on what people claim. You rely on what they reveal in the spaces between. Their micro-expressions, their hesitation, their body language. These are the texts you read fluently now. Energy is your language, and you've become native at it. And that, right there, is why they fear you. Because energy can't be edited. It can't be rehearsed. It can't be reshaped with a good excuse or a well-timed apology. Words can perform, but energy? Energy tells the truth even when someone's mouth is full of lies. And that makes you the one person they cannot perform for, cannot fool, cannot manipulate. They can script a speech, but they can't script their aura. They can fake kindness, but they can't fake intention. They can hide actions, but they can't hide the emotional signature behind them. You feel what they hope stays invisible. You catch the motives they try to bury. You sense the shift the second their true colors leak through. And that alone makes you unstoppable. Because while everyone else gets lost in what people say, you're already dissecting what they mean. Chosen one, your instinct is the radar they didn't account for. You walk through the world seeing truth in high definition while they scramble to keep their masks from slipping. And when they realize you've been reading them the entire time, they finally understand why they're asking the question that haunts them. How did you know? But deep down, they already know exactly how. Number 5. Instinct. Reborn, the inner alarm. They upgraded with every lie. The alarm they triggered, the weapon they accidentally built. My dear chosen one, every time they tried to fool you, they tightened the spring on the very trap that now snaps shut on their lies. Let's talk about that instinct of yours, the one they used to mock, dismiss, and twist against you. They had no idea they were sharpening it with every betrayal, every mixed signal, every moment they tried to make you doubt your own reality. They thought they were confusing you, but all they were really doing was calibrating a radar they could never outrun. Now it terrifies them, and honestly, chosen one, it should. Your instinct didn't show up one morning fully formed. It wasn't born sharp, it was carved. Carved through disbelief, refined through heartbreak, strengthened through disappointment. Every time you ignored that tug in your chest and got stabbed by the truth anyway, something inside you evolved. Every time you pushed your intuition aside, thinking, maybe I'm overthinking, and they proved you right by betraying you, your inner system took notes. It adjusted. It upgraded. It said, never again, even when you still tried to give people the benefit of the doubt. You didn't realize it then, but every emotional burn was installing another update. Every scar sharpened the signal. Every moment you blamed yourself for feeling too much was actually another brick in the fortress your intuition was quietly building behind the scenes. Until one day, chosen one, your intuition didn't whisper softly, it roared. Picture it. That old version of you had a smoke detector that beeped gently when something felt off, a little warning you could choose to ignore. But now, after all the fires you survived, your intuition blasts through walls. It doesn't need proof, doesn't need explanations, doesn't wait for the mask to fall. The moment someone's energy shifts even a millimeter off balance, your entire system lights up like a flare in the dark. You feel the truth before the truth reveals itself. And the best part? You finally trust it. Because the only thing that never lied to you was that inner voice they tried to convince you to silence. Now, chosen one, you see things others overlook. When someone's words don't match their energy, you feel the glitch instantly. When someone hesitates, when their tone slips, when their eyes shift, when their smile doesn't reach the intention behind it, you catch it before they even realize their mask cracked. And the moment that internal alarm goes off, you're done. No second chances. No more negotiating with red flags. No more giving people the stage to perform their innocence. If your gut says walk away, you're gone before they can gather the next excuse. If your instinct says someone isn't right, you detach like a light switch turning off. Silent, instant, irreversible. And manipulators, they can't stand that silence. Silence is the one thing they can't twist, can't manipulate, can't weaponize. People who rely on confusion lose their power the moment you stop seeking clarity from them. They can't gaslight someone who remembers every contradiction with crystal precision. They can't fool someone who has already met their behavior wearing hundreds of different faces. They can't manipulate someone who sees the ending of their story before the first sentence leaves their mouth. Chosen one, you became untouchable the moment you learned the difference between instinct and fear. Fear protects them. It keeps you stuck, hesitant, apologetic. Instinct protects you. It pushes you forward, sharpens your vision, removes you from danger before danger introduces itself. That's why your intuition feels like a weapon now, because it is one. A weapon they forged unintentionally, piece by painful piece. They built your awareness, they taught you their tricks, they handed you the blueprint of their behavior, and now they tremble because you see what they hide before they even decide to hide it. They created a chosen one with instincts sharper than their intentions, and now they stand exposed in the very spotlight they turned on you. This is why they ask behind your back, how did they know? But the truth is simple, chosen one. They trained the very weapon that now exposes them. Number 6, 10 steps ahead, seeing the play before the player. Even moves, seeing the checkmate before they even reach for the piece. They're not scared of your intuition, chosen one. They're scared that you see the game before they even realize they're playing it. My dear chosen ones, this is the part where your awareness stops being a good instinct and turns into something that rattles people at their core. They call you scary, but let's be honest, what truly terrifies them is not you. It's the fact that their entire personality, their schemes, their habits, their manipulative rhythms have always been painfully predictable, and you're the first one bold enough to see it. You don't wait for the punch anymore. You see the shoulder movement before the fist even forms. You sense the intention before the words even start. That's what shakes them. You don't react. You decode. You don't guess. You analyze. You don't panic. You observe. And nothing unsettles a manipulator more than someone who studies patterns like they're reading sheet music. Because here's the truth, chosen one. You've lived through enough of these situations to recognize the script before the first line even drops. the same tone shifts, the same emotional pivots, the same nice voice people use right before asking for something they shouldn't, the same cold distance when someone else is feeding their ego. You know these behavioral fingerprints like a detective knows the sound of guilt in someone's breathing. You've watched enough cycles to notice the moment someone gets extra sweet, right before they slide in a favor wrapped in fake warmth. You've noticed how they suddenly act confused when you don't fall for their subtle guilt traps. You've noticed how they defend themselves before you even accuse them, because their own conscience is already screaming. Chosen one, innocent people don't panic before the question lands. Only the guilty do. This is where your power becomes something they've never encountered before. You walk into situations already knowing the outcome. When someone tries to start a conversation with excessive niceness, your mind whispers, "Here comes the request." When they suddenly grow distant, your instinct says, "Someone else is feeding their ego." When they begin justifying things you never brought up, your intuition answers, "They expose themselves without you saying a word." That level of awareness dismantles them. They freeze, because manipulators plan for every outcome except one, being understood too quickly. Imagine a chess player puffing their chest, thinking they're pulling off a brilliant strategy, only to realize you predicted the checkmate 10 steps earlier. That's your life now. You don't just see the pieces on the board. You see the move, the motive, the fear, the intention, the desperation behind each piece. And that's when you realize something profound. You're not reading them. They're revealing themselves in ways they don't even notice. Every sigh, every pause, every sudden switch in tone, every recycled excuse, every forced laugh. You catch it all. Because chosen ones don't just listen to words. They read between them. They don't watch actions. They interpret what those actions attempt to hide. And when you calmly speak their next move out loud, when you predict the sentence they're about to say before they say it, when you name the lie before it leaves their mouth, that's when they shatter. You short-circuit their entire plan. You deflate their ego in real time. You remind them they're not mysterious masterminds. They're painfully predictable performers, repeating the same outdated script. Chosen one, your calmness scares them more than any argument ever could. Anger they can deal with, tears they can manipulate, confusion they can exploit. But calm? Calm means you already figured it out. Calm means you are not participating in the game. Calm means the mask slipped and you saw everything clearly. People fear what they can't fool. People fear who they cannot distract. People fear the one who can reroute emotional manipulation like it's a minor inconvenience. And that's who you've become, the person they cannot trick, cannot bait, cannot emotionally detour. You see not just the moment, they see you seeing the future, and that makes them tremble. Because while they're busy preparing Act 1, you're already bored of the entire performance. While they're crafting excuses, you've already reviewed the pattern behind them. You don't just predict the truth, you arrive at it before anyone else even notices something is off. That's why they're asking, "How did you know?" But the real question they should be asking is, how did we ever think they wouldn't? Because chosen one, you've been 10 steps ahead for a long time. Number 7, the desperation move, their final accusation. When the mask falls off. When the mask cracks, the accusations start flying. They don't call you crazy because you're wrong, chosen one. They call you crazy because you caught them. My dear chosen ones, this is the chapter where the truth finally corners them, and instead of facing it, they start clawing at the walls like trapped actors whose script just fell apart mid-performance. This is the moment every fake, every manipulator, every mask wearer resorts to their last and laziest trick, attacking your character because theirs has already collapsed. They can't outthink you. They can't outrun you. They can't outmaneuver a mind that sees the entire map while they're still fumbling with the first clue. So what do? They scream, they project, they flip the script in desperation, hoping noise will drown out your clarity. It always starts with the same tired lines. You're paranoid. You're imagining things. You're too emotional. Their panic is predictable, like a broken alarm that shrieks not because danger is present, but because they got caught. And honestly, Chosen One, isn't it fascinating how the moment your accuracy threatens their illusion, suddenly you become the villain in their story? Not because you've done anything wrong, but because they fear the truth sitting behind your calm eyes. They're not protecting reality, they're protecting their performance. They know they can't disprove you. They know they can't debate you. They know they can't twist your perspective anymore. So instead, they try to twist you. They want to make you look unstable so that nobody listens when you start connecting dots out loud. They want people to see you through their distortion because they're terrified of anyone seeing them through your clarity. This isn't about you being wrong. It's about them being exposed. But Chosen One, here's the part that destroys them. You don't even need to defend yourself. You carry truth the way others carry memories, accurate, consistent, unapologetic. You remember tone shifts they hoped you'd ignore. You remember inconsistencies they hoped you'd forget. You carry receipts, not out of spite, but because your mind never misses what their mask tries to hide. They hate that. They hate that you remember the exact moment their story cracked. They hate that you can replay conversations they thought they smoothed over. They hate that your instincts predicted their betrayal before their actions confirmed it. You saw the break in their voice before they even rehearsed their next lie. You felt the shift in their energy before they understood they were giving themselves away. And when the betrayal walked in right on schedule, exactly the way you said it would, they couldn't blame timing or coincidence or misunderstandings anymore. They had to face the reality that you were right all along. That's when panic becomes their only strategy, because they know accuracy is your armor, awareness is your shield, pattern recognition is your superpower. They can't manipulate someone who sees the entire game, so they try to make everyone believe you're unstable for even noticing the game exists. This is the last-ditch trick of the exposed. If they can't bury the truth, they'll try to bury the truth teller. But you, Chosen One, you stopped caring about being liked the moment you realized being liked never protected you. If anything, it left you open to people who weaponized your kindness. You don't need their approval. You don't need their validation. You don't need them to understand you. The truth understands you, and that's what rattles them. You're not operating from ego. You're operating from experience. You learned these patterns through survival, not imagination. People call you crazy right before the universe proves you sane. That has always been the pattern. And now when they whisper, "How did you know?" it isn't admiration, it's fear. They're not confused about your intuition. They're worried about what you'll see next. They're not afraid you're wrong. They're afraid you'll expose everything they tried to hide from themselves. What they're really asking is, how do I hide from someone who sees everything? But you and I both know the answer. Chosen One. They can't. Because once a Chosen One sees through someone, the illusion is gone forever. And that, more than anything, is why they're terrified of you. Number 8. The quiet exposure. How your wordless truth unravels their entire story. When your silence becomes the spotlight that exposes their whole act. They're not scared of what you say, Chosen One. They're scared of what you've already figured out without uttering a single word. My dear Chosen Ones, this is where the fear in their eyes starts to make sense. This is where the shaking hands, the nervous glances, the stuttering explanations, all of it begins. Because nothing rattles a faker, a manipulator, a mask wearer more than realizing you've gone silent. Not the angry silence, not the wounded silence, but that cold, steady, unreadable silence that says, "I know exactly what you're doing." That silence is their nightmare, for one simple reason: it exposes everything they tried to bury. People expect explosions, they expect arguments, they expect you to explain why you're pulling away, what you noticed, how you pieced things together. But when you don't explain, when you don't react, when you don't fall apart the way they hoped, that's when they panic. Because if you're quiet, chosen one, it means you already made your decision. It means you've already seen the truth. It means they can't negotiate with you anymore. Your silence becomes the mirror they've tried to avoid their entire life, and suddenly they're forced to look at their own behavior without the distractions they used to hide behind. They're not asking, "How did you know?" because they respect your insight. No, they're asking because they're desperately trying to figure out the exact moment their mask slipped. They replay conversations, scanning every second to pinpoint where they lost control. They replay your expressions, your tone, your pauses, trying to decode your silence like it's some ancient warning. They want to know which lie gave them away, which inconsistency you caught, which shift in energy they failed to disguise. And the truth, you saw everything. They just never expected you to process it quietly. Silence, chosen one, is uncertainty, and uncertainty is exposure. When you don't speak, they don't know how much you know. They don't know how deep your understanding goes. They don't know which secrets are still safe and which ones you've already connected like a constellation they didn't want you to see. That's why silence destroys them. It puts them in a constant state of self-interrogation. Every insecurity rises to the surface. Every lie replays in their mind. Every move they made feels like evidence waiting to be used. Imagine a thief not panicking because an alarm goes off, but because it doesn't. If the alarm screams, they know what to run from. But silence. Silence means the system saw them and decided not to warn them. That's what your silence does to people. It tells them, "I saw you, and I'm letting the truth handle you." They fear that more than confrontation. Confrontation gives them a script. Silence forces them into improvisation, and manipulators crumble when they can't perform. Most people cling to comforting lies. They rewrite entire stories just to avoid admitting someone they trusted was playing them. But you, my dear chosen one, you walked a different path. You stopped listening to who people claimed to be and started watching who they revealed themselves to be in their smallest moments. That choice is what made you untouchable. When you chose truth over illusion, you stepped into a power manipulators can't manipulate, liars can't twist, and fakes can't survive under. They want you to speak because words are easier to redirect. If you accuse, they can deny. If you explain, they can twist. If you justify, they can interrupt. But when you give them nothing, when you decide their performance isn't even worth commentary, that breaks them in ways your voice never could. You let them drown in the tension of their own actions. You let them feel the echo of every lie they swore you'd never discover. You let the silence sit between you like a truth serum they can't escape. Silence isn't weakness, chosen one. Silence is when the villain finally realizes the hero wasn't foolish, just observant. It's when they understand that the quiet kid, the underestimated one, the one they thought they could outsmart, has been 10 steps ahead the entire time. Their downfall isn't caused by your anger, it's triggered by your calm. Your composed silence is the one thing they cannot argue with, cannot twist, cannot run from. And now you understand why your silence scares them more than your voice ever could. Because silence, chosen one, is the sound of truth finally catching up to them. Number 9. The vanishing point, the silent exit that echoes longer than any goodbye. The exit that silences the room and shatters their illusions. My dear chosen ones, here is the part they never prepare for, the part that rattles them long after your footsteps fade. They always expect noise. They expect anger, debate, confrontation. They expect you to fight for them, chase them, plead for clarity, or at least demand an explanation. They expect the old version of you, the one they thought was easy to manipulate, easy to gaslight, easy to reel back in. But instead, you did the one thing their ego cannot recover from. You vanished, quietly, cleanly, without theatrics, without a final speech, without even giving them the dignity of a goodbye. And that, chosen one, is why they're still spiraling. Because nothing destroys someone who feeds on attention more than realizing you no longer have any reaction left for them, not even anger. They can spin lies, they can twist narratives, they can tell the world whatever story paints them as the victim. But they cannot rewrite the fact that you walked away without hesitation. They cannot lie their way out of the void you left behind. Silence is funny like that. It exposes more than any accusation ever could. Your power was never in fighting. It was in observing, calculating, understanding patterns so deeply that you already knew how the story would end. While they were scrambling to manipulate the next moment, you were already 10 steps ahead, seeing the entire arc of the situation. They misinterpreted your calm as confusion, your stillness as submission, your quiet as weakness. But quiet doesn't mean lost. Quiet means done. Quiet means you chose yourself. Quiet means their access expired. Chosen one, your exit wasn't a retreat. It was a strategy. The cleanest, sharpest, most undeniable strategy of all. You didn't storm out. You didn't slam the door. You didn't create chaos. You simply stopped participating. And that absence hits harder than any confrontation ever could, because it leaves them alone with something they can't escape, their own behavior. When you're no longer there to absorb it, excuse it, smooth it over, or pretend it's normal, the truth becomes suffocating for them. They replay everything, every conversation, every lie, every shift in your tone, every moment they thought they got away with something. Your silence becomes a mirror they can't escape, reflecting every mask they wore, every manipulation they tried, every mistake they hoped you didn't notice. They realized too late that you were the gravity holding the situation together, not them. And once you removed that gravity, everything around them collapsed under its own emptiness. Chosen one, you don't argue because arguing suggests their words still matter. You don't defend yourself because defense suggests their perspective still holds weight. You don't expose them because exposure is a gift and you owe them nothing. Instead, you let time, their own patterns and the consequences they created reveal everything. And when the truth finally surfaces, as it always does, they can't blame you for a single thing. Silence leaves no fingerprints. That's why your exit is lethal. It doesn't just end the connection, it ends the illusion that they had control, the illusion that they were irreplaceable, the illusion that they were smarter, slicker, more strategic. Your disappearance proves the opposite. You were the one regulating the chaos the entire time. You were the emotional backbone, the stability, the grounding force they took for granted. They thought you were easy to replace until they realized no one else has your intuition, your clarity, your calm intelligence, your unwavering sense of truth. Now they sit there haunted by an emptiness they can't fill. They try to distract themselves, but your absence echoes. They seek validation elsewhere, but no one reads them the way you did. They attempt the same manipulative tricks on others, but it doesn't land the same. Because chosen one, you weren't just another person. They will eventually understand you were the one thing in their life that forced them to confront themselves. And here's the irony that slices deeper than any revenge. You didn't walk away to hurt them. You walked away to save yourself. You walked away because your peace finally mattered more than their chaos. You walked away because you realized your energy is too valuable to waste on someone who only appreciates it when it's gone. And that realization your realization is the final blow. So when they ask, how did you know? How did you just walk away like that? The answer is painfully simple. You knew your worth. They didn't. And now they're living with the silence that tells the whole story. And now, chosen one, as we bring this chapter to a close, let your mind settle into the truth you've uncovered here. If even a single line struck you in that deep place only awakened minds feel, then you already know this message was meant for you. Support this mission by hitting like, subscribing, and dropping 77 in the comments to amplify this energy. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, because every share strengthens the circle of those who see what others miss. Let's keep rising together.